I guess this shit is overdue. A lesson learned from both of you. Brendan Allen does the most damage when he's close to you. Guys, I can't believe how easy Reinier De Ridder quit today. Like, when I say that, like, Brendan Allen on short notice made this guy quit. This, keep in mind, he was booked to fight the guy with arguably the best cardiovascular system in the UFC, Fluffy. Mama. Like, I'll be real. If you're ever happy that a fight doesn't get booked because it would have been attempted murder, brother, give it this fight, brother. I'm so glad Fluffy pulled out because this fight would have been a little bit too one-sided. You know, and let's just start off quick. First of all, the card was all right. Like, I feel like it delivered. As far as picks goes, don't even look at me. I feel like every YouTuber did bad, but I think I got 6. I went 6 for 7. I hate Dale. But listen though, for real, dead ass. This fight right here, it showed me that the Ridder style is good when because he's so much stronger than people, guys. He was able to go in there and bully Brendan Allen the first round, arguably a 10-8. I was watching that live and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I was like, the Ridder looks good now. I don't think he's going to fatigue. Because we've seen the Ridder like go into fights, look tired and look sloppy, kind of like DDP, but he still finds a way to win to keep fighting. However, in second round, he made a big mistake where he was too high on Brendan Allen and he just didn't give up on the position because he wanted control. And then he gets controlled by Allen, reversed, and then he starts getting punches rained down on his face. At the end of the second round, from that point on, it already looked like he didn't want to get up. He was like getting to his knees slowly, and the ref was like, oh, let him get up. By the second round, he was that gassed by the second round. Keep in mind, he had a full camp, full preparation. The guy on short notice was Brendan Allen, and that's the guy who had better cardio than you, and you're supposed to go in there with Fluffy. What was your game plan going to be if you had to go in there with Fluffy? What were you going to do if you had to go in there and fight Fluffy? Like, what was he trying to, like, was he going to lose regardless? Yes. You know, and I remember thinking to myself, and if you thought this, you're not an idiot, like, oh, this is going to be interesting for Hamza. Because in our head, we're like, this guy has not great striking, but his knees. I got to talk about that. De Ridder didn't throw a single knee. Like, he wasn't on the front foot throwing knees into clinches. You know, he's just kind of like, let me just go in there and clinch you. You know, and he is really strong, but you can't rely on strength, guys. Because if you guys squeeze someone, bear hug someone for 5 minutes straight, see how tired you get. See how much energy. He's such a, like, I'm going to use my strength and just marauder max you the whole fight. That when he's going against a good grappler now, he can't just rely on his strength to just heavily impose himself. If this was someone like Kevin Holland or someone like weaker, he would smoke them. And I'm thinking back to the fact that he was losing to GM3 before he found that choke because GM3 fatigued. And why? Is GM3 great? Is he one of the best of all time? Nobody knows how to grapple, and he's a bigger guy. Brendan Allen, also 6'2", like GM3. I think GM3 is like 6'3", 6'4", whatever. But they're also big guys who could grapple, which is why he gave the Ridder a hard fight as well. Except for, unlike GM3, he didn't fatigue. So, of course, he didn't fatigue, which is why he ultimately ended up kind of schooling Reinier De Ridder in this fight. I need that sit break because my throat, bro. I've been talking all stream. You know, and it leads me to believe that Brendan Allen's not even that good, guys. Like I said, GM3 wasn't good, but he was beating De Ridder to the finish. I don't think Brendan Allen's all that good. Yes, he's coming off a win against Marvin Vettori. Marvin Vettori is so fucking challenging. Like, him and Vettori went strike for strike, but he still beat Vettori because of his grappling. You know, before that, lost to Mavov because even though he took down Mavov in the first round, once Mavov was stuffing that takedowns, he just put it on him. Because when Mavov's able to put the pace on him, Allen broke. You know, as well, like, Fluffy kind of milked Allen. It's just, Allen is not great, guys. He's just good enough to beat De Ridder because stylistically he has good grappling and he didn't fatigue. That's all that was. Like I said, Fluffy, thank God that fight didn't happen. I'm not going to look at Brendan Allen as a world beater. I'm going to look at De Ridder a little bit overrated. And I overrated him too because I thought he was going to win this. Well, just as well as a lot of people thought he was going to win this. You know, but I do think he's a little bit overrated in the fact that when he finally went against a good grappler who was his size, the last one we seen that against was GM3. And that's why everyone was like, this guy sucks. Because GM3, who's not that great, arguably almost beat this guy without that finish. You know? So everyone was looking at the next fight. Robert Whittaker should do this. Robert Whittaker's not washed. People got to understand styles make fights. Robert Whittaker's not known for having one of the best BJJ in the UFC. Brendan Allen is. Brendan Allen's known for that grappling. You know, being good at wrestling isn't the same as being good at like BJJ in like overall grappling. Like, Bo Nickal can wrestle, he can scramble well, but once he's on his back with a bigger guy who's not in his weight class, because it's not like a wrestling, make the same weight, and he's going against someone who understands BJJ really well, it's not going to be as easy as him to like go in there and like marauder max De Ridder, as well as the fact that Bo Nickal is undersized from 185. Brendan Allen's not. Like, Bo Nickal is undersized for 185. Brendan Allen's not. So when De Ridder is so used to using strength and size and just sheer will, and he can't do it against someone like Brendan Allen, that's when fights start to look like this. And that's why De Ridder, after the first round, using all that strength, couldn't find the finish. That's why Brendan Allen ended up breaking him. Allen said before the fight, I'm going to go on there, beats on him, Dr. Dre, break this guy, and that's what happened. Look on Twitter, bro. Hamza tweeting out, this guy just gave up, shake my head. We have Imava tweeting out, I knew this was going to happen. This guy's a joke. Everyone just cooking him. All the middleweights are just laughing at him because he was supposed to be that guy to beat Hamza, bro. And he gives up. You know, this is what people thought Hamza was going to do to DDP, apparently. Have one good round of fatigue. Brother, there's levels to this. Hamza's not going anywhere. Now, Hamza saying that he wanted to go up to 205 to fight Alex makes more sense now. People can't say, no, stay here because the Ridder's going to beat you. Oh, no, now they're going to be like, oh, no, Allen's going to beat you. Because even though Allen got broken by Fluffy and got schooled by Imavov, I still think stylistically, let's be real. We're going to try to grasp onto Brendan Allen like he's that guy to beat Hamza. No one can beat Hamza. Even though I love Imavov, I don't think he's going to beat Hamza. This fight proved to me that there's really no one who could touch Hamza. And the Ridder's pretty bad. He's 35. You know, he looks like the same way he looked like when he lost in that other promotion. Kind of just got tired, gave up. This guy doesn't have the best endurance, and he's very strong and big, but like you can't rely on sheer size to get you wins over other good grapplers, which is why the fight looked like this. Congrats to Brendan Allen, got it done, shocked me, shocked a lot of people as well. The Ridder disappointed me, as well as, you know, it was almost embarrassing for the Ridder. I'm very embarrassed about how bad he looked in this fight. It makes me look dumb for even rooting for him. I even thought against Fluffy he had a chance because like he could land some knees to the body. He didn't use that at all. I wonder why he wasn't walking forward, throwing the knees. He was kind of like throwing teeps and backing up. It's like he was scared of Allen. I don't know, man. Allen showed that he was better. I don't think Allen's a world beater or a future champion or anything just because of this performance. But I will say I respect him for going in there and shocking me and beating someone like the Ridder who was looked at as that guy to beat Hamza. Because who else could do it? You know, now it's going to be Fluffy's the only guy, but let's be real. When that fight happens, it happens. Fluffy, I don't care what injury he had. No matter how he showed up, he would have beat the Ridder. He could have showed up with no arm. He would have beat the Ridder because the Ridder would have gave up. And keep in mind, guys, it wasn't a bad stoppage. The Ridder gave up himself. I saw people in my chat talking about, that was a bad stoppage. But no, the Ridder, his corner was like, do you want to continue? The Ridder was like, nah, I can't. You gave up. You're a former double champ in a different promotion, and you gave up. And you gave up in a title challenger situation. Like, if you won this, you could arguably be next for the title and skip the line over a Mavov, and you gave up on yourself. You would never hustle with the stars. I had to tussle with the law. He's never shook his homie hand after they punched him in the jaw. I'm done with this guy, you know. He's nothing but a fraud, you know. And it's disappointing because you gave up in a title eliminator. Poor job. Shame on you. And I have nothing good to say about you. Kind of blow. This is one of those fights I picked Kevin Holland to win because I thought it was going to be a lot. I'll be real. Mike Malott not even getting a point taken off from a nut shot. We're going to talk about previously. First of all, Dan had a tough day. Big Dan, I love him, but he sucked today. You know, first of all, I don't like this whole notion of asking a fighter, do you want to give up? And what fighter who's not a quitter, especially Kevin Holland who fights like, he does his 5th fight of the year, looking for a 6th fight, probably not now with this nut shot. Like, how are you going to ask someone like that, you want to continue? Nigga, like, you guys got to make a conscious decision based on the behavior. You know, and the fact they didn't take a point on this fight because they got 2 nut shots back to back. And I see people saying it didn't actually hit the nuts. Bro, it hit the cup. The cup went up from, it was hair, it went flying up. It didn't imaginary do that. It's because he skinned it. His shin, his knee, everything hit on the way up. You know, and it was a stupid fight because it was just stupid. The fight was dumb. After that, the whole time, Holland was just playing with his fucking nuts, dude. The whole fight because he was hurt. Fight shouldn't have happened. It was just such a stupid. And then to the point where like Holland was forced to continue. I feel like the fight should have just been stopped there. And then he was forced to continue. And then when he was forced to continue, like at the start of the second round, they asked him, man, you sure you want to go? If you don't continue, it's going to be DQ loss for you. They put him in a hole. At that point, he was like, okay, bro, you just got to fight. You know, I thought he won the first round. He catches the leg, drops Malott, beating the shit out of Malott, but then gets kicked in the nuts. Second round starts, he loses, but has a late rally. Third round starts, Malott wrestles. Well done to Malott. Gets it done over Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland was just, poor guy, man. Like, he should have, like, this whole referee thing was stupid. Mike Malott's really bad. Another thing to take away from this, Mike Malott blows. Canada, if this is your only prospect, that 33-year-old juggernaut, mama. That's all I'm going to say. I ain't going to say too much. I'm glad I got this fight right. I don't know if this is an underdog pick. I think it was a pick in odds. But Cheeto's really bad. Lost to the 37-year-old Zahabi. Zahabi, I'll be real, is a dog. It shouldn't have been split. It was definitely rounds 1 and rounds 3 to Zahabi. I will say Vera did surprise me a little bit. Thought he was going to be a lot more low output. He was high output for Cheeto. Only 56 total strikes, but that is high output for Cheeto. You know, Zahabi outstruck him, double the strikes in the 3rd round and the 1st round, it felt like. 2nd round, Cheeto came alive. He actually dropped and hurt Zahabi. Zahabi has shown a track record of consistently getting hurt, still finding ways to put the beats on him like Dr. Dre. This guy once fought for a belt, still blows my mind. I always tell you guys I think he's the most overrated fighter of all time because like he clip farms like head kick, one shot knockouts, and he gets them against these older guys who are well off the way, but he gets hyped up from that. I still can't believe this guy fought for a title like less than 2 years ago. Zahabi, the 37-year-old, gets it done. Very easy pick by me. I was surprised about how good Cheeto looked, but Zahabi's not good to me, but he's better than Cheeto Vera because Cheeto's not very Cheeto. So I don't know, bro. 32 years old, guys. He said he was entering his prime in this, which is funny. I'm entering my prime, guys. Like, bro, I thought you were 37. I thought Zahabi was 32. Turns out I was fucking wrong. You guys are the opposite. But congrats to Zahabi. That was one of my locks of the card. Another lock for the card, I was saying Manon, the Frenchie, was going to get it done against Jasmine. I did not expect her to finish her in one round. I will say, Manon looked so scared to strike for some reason. Like, she was, like, throwing and running. Like, how I strike my friends, like, a couple years ago when I was first getting into it. Give me gloves, I throw a punch and I run, throw a punch. That's how she looked. Like, she looked like she was hesitant to even engage. Somehow catches Jasmine on the way out. First round knockout. You never see women's fight end, like, in the first fucking minute. That's what pretty much happened in this fight. Jasmine tried to, like, say, oh, that was early stoppage. No, you were out of there, bro. I feel bad for Jasmine. Jasmine running creates momentum, but Manny's just really good and really powerful and strong for this weight class. So no surprise she kind of schooled Jasmine. I did say in my video, this is my most confident pick on the card, and you can see why. Manning gets it done in the first round. I thought it was going to last longer and be a little bit more clinching with Manning and just physicality maxing, but didn't even need to get out the first round. Congrats to Manning, the Frenchie. This fight I got wrong. Now, it was a risky pick going David Grant underdog, but in my head, I told you guys, he has to survive the first round, and he wins the last two. He was doing good. Charles Jourdain was throwing a lot. I think it was really back and forth until those knees. Charles Jourdain threw about 3 of those knees. The last one lands flush. I don't know how David Grant didn't see it. It's almost like David Grant ignored it, but like he kind of walked into it, cleanly got his chin laid out on the platter, gets slept. Congrats to Charles Jourdain. His brother is better than him, and his brother's in the UFC now. They're two brothers to look out for. This is Charles Jourdain's first time at bantamweight. He looked a little bit explosive but predictable, but it was enough to get it done against a crafty vet like David Grant. So good job to Charles Jourdain, strong, handsome, good look guy. He gets it done, and he kind of gets rid of David Grant, which I really thought David Grant was going to get him after that first round, but first round finished by Charles Jourdain. You got to give it up to him. Another fight I got wrong. A stupid fight, too. First of all, I was talking about bad refs. Another bad ref in this fight. Steamroller and Kyle Nelson. The fight ended. This is what started the whole Big Dan chant. The reason Big Dan was getting booed the whole fight. This fight ended by first round knockout by Kyle Nelson. And then Dan stops like 3 seconds early. And then like, oh my God. It was just like, he knows he made a mistake, but the fight continues. And then just horrible. Just horrible. Kyle Nelson luckily does beat Frevola damn near every round. Frevola was just really tired, dude. This guy, he always fights. Frevola's really bad, dude. He just fights, I feel like, the same. Just goes in there and fights like a goofball, a goopy gooper. Fatigues after one round, either gets a first round knockout or loses, and he lost in the first round. They continued. So congrats to Kyle Nelson by winning by KO and points, you know. All right, next fight, Propellec versus Dober. I did say I was leaning Dober. I did think he was going to get it done. Very good fight, as I expected. Fight of the night. Circle that on your calendar. Like I was saying about the refs being inconsistent. When Mike Malott kicked Kevin Holland the balls twice, back to back, and the second time he took all 5 minutes to heal from it. You know, they didn't take a point. This one, I get it because Kyle Propellec is Canadian. It's there in Canada. The referees happen to be, well, the referees for this wasn't Canadian. No, the referee for this fight was Canadian, not the other fight. Dan is not, but of course the Canadian, when they get kicked in the balls, it was a bad kick. You know, he did react badly, just like Kevin Holland react badly, but they decided to actually take a point from Dober. Just inconsistent reffing. You know, I'm so glad Dober slept in the next round because Dober, unlike Mike Malott, showed urgency. He showed that he wants to chase a finish because he knew he was down, and he gets it done. I know Mike Malott didn't get a point deduction, but after knowing that Kevin Holland was compromised, he didn't step on any pedal, while Dober stepped on the pedal immensely. So congrats to Dober, bro. He deserved that win because he earned it. Kyle Propellec got a nut shot, almost got bailed out by some point deduction and by robberies via just Canadian-esque. But Dober gets him out in the third round. Very fun fight, though. One of the best fights tonight for sure. Other fight I got wrong. Cody Gibson versus, I don't even know how to say it, Orlik Gleng. I don't know, my China brother, but this guy was just so sharp, bro. He was so accurate. He finished him in 20 seconds. Just a lot of bounce stance, catching him. And then like Cody Gibson walks into one, gets flatlined. Very clean KO by the China guy, dude. I don't know much about him, but I'm going to start following him after this round. Just so accurate. He was just accurate. He took his time, found the shot, put him away. Cody Gibson kind of walked into that. But yeah, I got this another pick I got wrong out of many. One of my underdog picks of the night. I was very happy about this one, bro. I was telling you guys I think Bruno Silva is going to get it done because I think Bruno Silva is a lot better. Bruno Silva was a sizable underdog, which I didn't agree with. I was like, this makes no sense. Bruno Silva is a lot better. And it kind of showed in this fight. He kind of wins every single round and then ultimately chokes him out in the third. The South Korean was tough. They're always all South Koreans are tough, but they've been on losing streaks, man. We got the tattooed McGregor-esque South Korean who lost. We had just the Dana White Contender Series Korean losing, and now we got Park, man. I listen, you guys know, 감사합니다. Lejumin kenimida. 알았어. A little bit Korean. Yeah, I backed my Korean boys, but they were getting. I knew Bruno Silva was just too good. Bruno Silva losing to Manel Cap and Joshua Vance, not a big deal because I knew they were really good. That's why I was so confident in Bruno Silva. I told you guys, this is probably my most confident underdog pick on the card, and you guys see why Bruno Silva got it done against Park, who was game, but just wasn't as good as Bruno Silva. Simple as. Now this fight, it was a good fight, but Danny Barlow, like everyone just, man, these favorites, man. Danny Barlow seemed quicker, he seemed sharp. I wouldn't say seemed better. I don't know if he seemed better, but I seemed like Santos was a little bit more willing to sit down and trade. I think I give the first round to Barlow, then the second and third to Santos. I forgot how I scored it, but I do think that it wasn't a robbery at the end of it, and I feel like Barlow kind of fatigued, man. He used a lot. He had a good left hand. It was landing sharp, and he actually had Santos hurt at a point, but he couldn't capitalize on it. It was just actually no. I gave 1 and 2 to Danny Barlow. I gave him the second round because he had a really big moment in the second round, but then Santos had a big moment, but I thought Barlow's moment was a little bit bigger. But I think every judge gave it to Santos, so I wasn't gonna say it was a bad thing. But I did say 1-2 Barlow, but if it was Santos, I wouldn't be opposed. So it was Santos. I wasn't opposed. Danny Barlow was really so hyped up before the Sam Patterson knocked out. He was still a huge favorite going into this one, and I did think he was gonna get it done against Santos, but Santos just showed us activity wins. And he overwhelmed Danny Barlow and fatigued him. Women's fight that no one cares about, that I said it was obviously it was an obvious pick. I can't even talk because I've been talking for like 6 hours straight. Stephanie Luciano gets it done against Ravin Oliveira. Kind of schools her and then submits her at the end. This is actually a really good performance. This girl's 25. I was in her DMs after this, brother. We exchanged some words, brother. Dale. We did that. Never happened. Stephanie Luciano gets her done. Very easy fight. Okay, we're actually gonna talk about this fight a little bit. No, I don't think Azamat Bekov is bad, because I know people are wondering that. I do think Yurzuri Belgaroui is really good. Guys, 6'6" with really good defensive grapplings what shocked me. In my head, I actually thought Bekov was actually going to be overwhelming on the feet, come with overhands. I still even thought at the end of that first round, Bekov was still going to catch him. But after the first 2 rounds, that's when Bekov fatigued. He doesn't have 1 round endurance. He has 2 round endurance. But after that second round, it looked like he was over. Bro, Yurzuri's ability to pick his jabs and pick his shots and then mix in the low kicks and then scramble. Man, 6'6", bro, long and that good at defensive grappling is amazing. Like, even when Bekov will be in on a takedown, he'll be like grabbing his ankle, pulling it towards his butt to force a scramble. Like, he'll be scooping into, and then like forcing scrambles. He's just really long and hard to take down. Even when Bekov would have moments where he would tie up his legs, he's so long that he would grab Bekov's head, frame off to a point where Bekov can't even tie his leg and start throwing because he's not in punching distance, because he's holding you back because he's 6'6", long and rangy. Just really good understanding of defensive grappling. Very hard to deal with on the feet. We have a legitimate prospect in this guy, bro. He trains with Pereira. He did beat Pereira in kickboxing as well. And I see why, man. The guy's sharp. The guy's good. Yurzuri is just too much. He was too much for Bekov, who I still think Bekov smokes a lot of people in the middleweight division. This is not a fraud check. This is I guess I can't even say I told you so moment. It's a wake up moment. Yurzuri's really good moment. I'm a fan of this guy. I'm a big fan of him because he showed me that not only is he 6'6", talented kickboxer with good power, because he ended up finishing Bekov, which he didn't get knocked out, but he ended up putting away Bekov. And I don't think people have the chin of Bekov. This guy has power. He has length, defensive grappling. I'm telling you when I say this guy's one of the best middleweights on the roster right now, I mean it. Keep your eye on this guy. Extensive kickboxing career, but has great defensive grappling. He's scary, man. Happens when you train with Glover, bro. I'm starting to think Pereira's takedown defense against Eng is just him improving, man, because these guys are good takedown defense. He just knows how to use his lane so well. Great power. And he's 185. He's not one of those like Pereira too big for his division 185s. He looks like he's actually 185 and looks like he makes it comfortably. This guy's really good. So I think he's a prospect I'm going to put on my list. And I feel as if he's going to school anyone else. And I'm going to be on the hype train. Obviously, Hamzat's a reach and all these other guys. But as far as like every other contender, like even these Brahalos and stuff, if you're not able to take this guy down, bro, beware. And I don't think Bekov has bad grappling. I just really look at what Yurzuri was doing well, and I feel like he defended really well there, and he was getting up really well. He's not someone you could just take down and play with pause. So I do got him on my hype list and like a watch out list because this guy's really good. All right, and then this stupid fight that no one cares about. Croton wins. She actually surprised me. She made her debut. Congrats to the Canadian. Overall, listen, card wasn't bad. It wasn't great. on picks, it actually was pretty entertaining. If I got these picks right, I'll probably be celebrating. But tough cards for me. But overall, people got exposed. Some people are new prospects. This was a pretty solid card all around. Let me know what you guys think about the card down below. That's it for me. And God bless. 2, 3, 4.